In this video, we're going to go more in depth on how we can use a cookie to protect our web pages and how we can work with it with the form that we've been given for this final project. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize my desktop, and I'm going to drag the files that we've been given into my Sublime text editor. And the goal here is to really understand what's happening. So to do that, I'm going to pretend that my script has validated a username and password and everything's okay. And I'm just going to focus on the cookie aspect. So I'm going to use set cookie, and this is login okay, which is the login name. And I'm going to go add a value of yes. Okay. And then I'm going to do the time of expiry. So this is the current time plus 3,600 seconds, which is 60 minutes times 60 seconds. And that's all I'm going to do. Okay. So when we do this, I just want to run it. And this is login.php. And what I'm going to do is open up our console and take a look at our cookies. So right here, this is the cookie right here. And what I've done is I've set this cookie to expire in an hour. So if you log in properly, you'll be okay for an hour. So if I hit login.php, here you can see login okay, yes. Localhost, path blog final. The expiry is in an hour from now, and everything else is the same. Okay, so this is what we've done with the login. So you already at this point in the course know how to send data from a form and how to check that data. Okay, so let's say hypothetically, in our login, we've already evaluated the username and password entry, and it matches. So what I can say is something like this. Okay, we'll put a valid equals yes. Okay, and then I can say something like, okay, get my little arrow key here. Issues with my keyboard for some reason. So now I can test it. I can say, okay, if valid is equal to yes, well, then let's set that cookie. Okay. Cool. So now we've got that, which is wonderful. So now we've done this. Otherwise, else, output error message, and exit the script. Okay. So here, we'll go right ahead and do it. Oh, I always like to put comments in my code, so I think it helps my code be a little more understandable. But I'm going to say, please, invalid password, please log in again. Invalid password or username. Please click here to log in again. Okay, and then I'll just have an ahref going to login.html. Just like that. Easy. Okay, so let's test this. So right now we have a valid cookie, right? Everything's cool. We can go back and do login, hit refresh, and we'll still have access to everything. But if I change this to valid equals no, okay, and I go and I destroy this cookie, which I will do right now, we'll just kick it out. I click the little delete thing here. So now if I hit login.php, it went ahead and set it again. That means it doesn't have the I didn't save the valid equals no. So I've assigned, you see the single equals valid to be equal to no. Once again, I'll go and just delete that and hit refresh. Actually, we'll go back. For some reason, it's I've got to make sure that I have the right script here, because we know that valid equals no, right? And if valid is equal to yes, which it shouldn't be, because it's equal to no, then we should go back. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this. We're going to go back and make sure that here's login and login.php, but I want to make sure it's destroyed. So let's hit this empty cache artery load. We'll do login.html. There we go. Now go ahead and log in. We'll just do this, the wrong login. And this is what that messaging is, because there is no login. Now I can go back here like this, relog in, but in this case we'll do valid equals yes. Excuse me. So now when I go to login.php directly, apparently there's like a cache issue going on here, because my login equals yes does work. It's the login folder. Let's make sure we're, oh, it's interesting. I have two different folders open. So this should be yes. We'll make sure that I'm looking at the right one, because I believe that I was looking at the one that's not in the htdocs. So here's login.php. See, valid is yes. And now we can go back to copy that link. We'll go back to the link, and now we have it. So once the cookie's set, you have access to everything. Now, that's the logic, but how do we log out? Well, what we could do is have a logout down here and then create a new file called logout.php, which I'll do right now. So the idea, with this project, there's several things we want to cover before we say goodbye and you move on to other courses. And one of those things is to utilize includes wherever possible. Like we could have, I'm just going to do logout.php. We'll save this as logout.php. And all we're going to do here is logically work with what we already know, logout.php. And we're just going to make sure that it's in the htdocs folder. Great. So if we look at login, we already have our logic. It says basically, this is if we want to log out, right? So now what we can do is, there's a few ways to attack it. Let's see. You know what? I never did the link here. Maybe I didn't copy and paste it. But when we output PHP here, remember our goal is to log the person out. So what I can do is clear the cookie. I can do something like set cookie, and I could do login okay, but now just simply have a value of no, just like we did there, and we'll make that persistent. Okay, so if we set the login cookie for okay for no, then we'd be good, and then what we can do is echo the link and exit the script, so nothing's in there. So that's kind of how we could attack this. Okay, now that's the end of this video. It gives you logic on log out, log in, and cookies and how they work.